Looking for a gift for the Star Wars fan who has everything? I just may have the asset you're looking for. Hello again to all you creators out there, and welcome to another video from Nexus Dawn Studios. A while back I had a friend of mine asked, Tim, can you do this for me? Well, I thought, no, I reckon I can do better. So I came up with this is what I came up with. My own version of the Elf on a Shelf in Carbonite. And I have to admit, I really grabbed this commission with great zealous and enthusiasm, as I have to admit that the Elf on a Shelf, well, he really gives me the shit. Sure, it was something I'd never done before, but that's why we do these things. So let me go through the steps of how I came up with Elf on a Shelf in Carbonite. Now, this was actually a project that I did about 2 years ago, back in 2019. So I'll just show you the still images or photos that I took at the time, and I'll walk you through how I did it. So to start this project off, what we need is monster clay, bit of scrap MDF, clay working tools, and my mitts. So I started with his face. Of course, this had to be the most crucial part. I had to get his expression just right. I think I got there. Moving on, I tried his hat. Didn't like it, had to redo it. So I came up with this. Much better. And after a day of sculpting, voila! Then from there, I had to do the details down the side. I had a master, which I molded and repeated with resin. For making the mold, I always reach for my Duplo blocks. Now, the reason why I use the Duplo blocks is because they're just versatile. You can virtually make any size and any shape with them. And our choice of silicone, Transil, exactly the same stuff as Pinky Cell. Both 1:1 mix, very easy to use. And the curing time is next to nothing. And then we have our lovely Transil silicone mold for our Elf on a Shelf in Carbonite. Anyway, the next step, I always use a mold release that is nice and cheap, but it does the trick really well, and that is baby powder. In this case, Johnson & Johnson's baby powder. Feels good. And I also use just an old, nice soft sable brush. Usually pour a little bit into the mold, and then I use the brush to make sure that I get into all the little nooks and crannies, because you know how it is. If you don't get your powder into your nooks and crannies, well, okay, I'm pretty confident we got our baby powder into every little nook and cranny. Now, always get rid of the excess, obviously, because you don't want that mixing with your silicone. And that looks pretty good. The great thing about the baby powder is, like I said, it's really cheap, easy to get, and it really gives a nice finish. Next step, let's get to the resin. So the resin I'm going to use for my little Elf on a Shelf in Carbonite will be Procast, which is from Barnes, and it's a basic 1:1 polyurethane resin. Well, it's not bad. I use it quite a lot, and as far as availability, it's always pretty good. So I know for a fact that my Elf on a Shelf in Carbonite is about 500 grams worth of the stuff. So let's get going. 1:1 mix, too easy. There we have 250 grams of each, part A and part B. Now, something else that I also like to add is a little polyurethane pigment, in this case black. So it gives it a nice base color for anything that you want to do to it later on with your particular paint scheme. This stuff goes a long way. Also available from Barnes. All you need is just a little scoop like so. But it does need to be mixed in really well. And I always mix it in with the darker of the two, which is part A in this case. So I'm pretty confident now that our black pigment has been mixed in really well. What I generally do is I'll let them sit for a little bit, let some bubbles rise to the top and disperse. Once that's done, then we'll mix them together. And we've always got to mix them gently. if you agitate too much, you're going to introduce bubbles into the mixture again. So I always pour one into the other with great ease. I can feel there's a little bit of warmth now, so that pretty much indicates that it's mixed properly. I'm just about to pour, can't see any visible bubbles, which is a good start. Always give it just a little bit of a whack on the sides to help any air bubbles that are caught break free and raise to the top. Right, now this is the fun part for me. It's just like Christmas every time I do it. The demolding. Looking pretty sweet. And with that, we are done. We have our little elf on a shelf in Carbonite. And if you would like to grab one of these little elves for your own shelf, well, contact me through either my Instagram page or my Facebook page. The links are down below. Don't forget, it is the merry season just around the corner, and I'm sure every Star Wars fan deserves one of these on their shelf. So, until the next time, let's just keep creating. Thanks again for joining us for another video in the Nexus Dawn Studios. Please remember to hit like. Please remember to hit subscribe. Both will help us immensely and will help our channel grow. So until the next time, see you then.